Okay, these are the condensing units. They're over here on the south side of the home. And we've got a couple things going on here. One, these are the electric service disconnects for the condensing units. They're mounted on the walls behind the condensing units. They should not be installed on the walls behind the condensing units. Another thing about these is that they should be sealed on three sides, the top and the sides. This is what it looks like inside of the box. I have a still image of that. We'll see how it's laced up a little bit. I understand that an air conditioning company is going to come out here and inspect these systems tomorrow. That's a good thing. I don't know if I'll have the report ready for them by then, but you know, protocol dictates that their opinions should supersede mine, but that's the way this stuff is looking. Alright, so we got two ream systems. They're probably installed at the same time, but this one's 15 years old and this one's 16 years old according to the manufacturer's data plate. Okay, this one's 5 tons, this one's 2.5 tons. Okay, they both are using R22 refrigerant. So we're just going to talk about this for a moment. This equipment is engineered on paper to last 20 years. It might last 35 years. We don't know that. But Las Vegas is going to give you 14 years. That's about statistically how long this equipment lasts in this part of the country. So anything over 15 years, everything over 14 years, excuse me, okay, it is a blessing. I mean, this equipment might work perfectly well, like any equipment. It might work perfectly well today, but know that it's older equipment. It's older equipment, and it might not work perfectly well tomorrow. In fact, since this equipment's an old man, and I'm an old man, you know, will an old man work for you? Sure, but how much work is he really going to do? At 15 and 16 years old, this is probably a 10-SEER system. So it's not very efficient. Right now we're running 14.5 on an average, you know, on the lower end, 14 on the lower ends. So already this equipment is not very efficient by current standards. Okay, this equipment has R22 in it. Just about any technician that comes out here, and they're probably going to come out here tomorrow and say something very similar to this. And if they recommend replacing this or budgeting for replacing this, then rightfully so. Rightfully so. Now, is it working? Can you get it? And that's what you're going to get from the other side. You're going to say, well, is it performing the function for which it's intended? Yeah, it's cooling. But how long will these 10-SEER systems need to cool? And the refrigerant for these is R22. Okay, it's no longer manufactured in the United States. It's no longer imported in the United States legally. Okay, is there a stockpile of it? You bet. Is it expensive? It's expensive, all right. Oh, they sell drop-ins. Okay, well, the drop-ins aren't as efficient as the inefficient 10-SEER system. And just about any technician that comes out here and sees that somebody else has put you might as well put that guy on payroll. Because nobody's going to want to follow him. They're just not. So it's an older system with R22. Now, my opinion is it'd be prudent to budget for replacement. Do I have a 17-year-old system that's on R22? You bet I do. I put it in new, though. I'm going to run it till the wheels fall off, and then, you know, I realize that I've got an older system, and I'll have to bite the bullet. This is a refrigerant piping coming into these systems. When these systems were installed, this old foam, this was acceptable. Look what it does, right? So, by today's current energy standards, this equipment was installed today. Alright, but by today's standards, we'd have a nice thick sheathing over this to protect it, to keep it from doing this, so our insulation is not compromised. We would. So what do we learn? We learned that we've got inadequate insulation on our refrigerant lines. We learned that the disconnect boxes are located behind the systems and that they are not sealed. And then we also learned that they're 15 and 16 years old and they use R22. And they're about a SEER 10. Okay, over here on this smaller one, I'm assuming this is going to be for upstairs. But we got some exposed electric connections up here at the top, too. Right there, so kids can get in there and kind of play with them and chew on them. Stuff like that.